In April of 2020, my wife had our first son, DJ. So it was right when the pandemic started. And in anticipation of DJ being born, I had let go of all of my clients. And it was really challenging because my wife was making $0. She's a teacher. And where I live at that time, when you had a baby, you did not get paid if you weren't working, right? There was no paid family leave. And so I just had this thing where I just had to make money fast. I had to come up with a plan to raise $10,000 in 3 months. Keep in mind, I run a nonprofit and I hadn't raised $10,000 in the previous 12 months. If I didn't come up with the money, I would have to close my organization and potentially get a regular day job. You know what's crazy? After 6 weeks, I had already generated that $10,000. Two things changed: my urgency and my identity. And that's what the 12-week year is all about. In this video, I want to share with you three things: what the 12-week year is, how we're doing it differently, and how you can achieve your 1 year goal in 12 weeks. We're calling it the 12-week year challenge, and I want you to join me. I want to take that big goal that you have for this year and shrink it down to 12 weeks. I'm going to be sharing weekly breakdowns of everything that I'm doing to my 12-week year, and I want you to join me. So let's do this. So, what's the 12-week year? It's a book by Brian P. Moran and Michael Lennington. In the book, they argue that the idea of planning 12 months at a time is broken. And the thing that it reminds me of is working on your assignments in school. You'd wait until the very last minute and you're just trying the best that you can, and you give the best first draft possible. And that's the same energy we put towards our 12-year goals. We start, we stop, we remember towards the end of the year, and then we try to really make a big push, and it just doesn't work out. With the 12-week year, the shift in thinking is taking that 12-month goal and saying, let me think about it like it's 12 weeks. So the interesting thing is, I say the 12-week year is not about doing a whole bunch of stuff in a short period of time. I think the 12-week year is about changing your identity. If you want to change results, you have to change who you are fundamentally. So when you look at the book 12-week year, they have a great system for those repeatable, measurable tasks. And if you're, doing something non-transformative in terms of business, you want to sort of get better, I think you should follow the system in the book. But my situation is a little different. Now that our nonprofit is doing much better, I've gone from raising that $10,000 to raising $200,000 in just 2 years. All our expenses have gone up, and I have new problems. And I'm thinking about who I have to let go because we just don't have the funds. So now I have to change my identity again. My goal is to raise $2 million in 12 weeks, which is astronomical. Just a couple years ago, I wasn't able to raise 10,000. So this is going to be a big identity shift for me. So just that linear, like I'm going to do so many of this task in a day is not going to work. Here's the three things that I know need to happen in order for me to raise that 2 million in 12 weeks. I have to schedule 20 conversations where I ask for $1 million. Most of those are going to be with banks and private foundations, but that's super scary to me. My organization has to apply for 100 grants that equal $20 million. And the goal is to get some percentage of that 20 million. 10% would be awesome. And then finally, we have to improve our public profile. So we need a new website, we need 4 new advisors that people know and respect, and we need at least 2 new board members. Each of these projects is going to take a lot of work. So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself 3 weeks to complete each of these projects, or at least get them going, and theme those 3 weeks around that project. We call those 3-week segments sprints. And the goal is to put 3 hours every day on a sprint project so we can keep the momentum going. Now, that's me. Let's talk about you. If you want to shrink your 1-year goal to 12 weeks, you got to get super clear on your one meaningful goal. You got to do the math, and you got to break down the major projects into sprints. So let's talk about getting clear. Pick the one thing that if you accomplish it will make everything else easier or unnecessary. I got this wisdom from the book The One Thing. Right? It's an amazing book that really focuses your energy. So think about that one thing that if you accomplish it, it will make everything else easier or unnecessary. Or another way of putting it, what is the one thing that if you accomplish it will totally change your identity? And if you don't feel anything, you might have to change your goal. If you don't get excited, you don't get scared, you don't get joyful about, the possibilities from becoming that new person, change your goal. So, for me, raising $2 million changes my identity to somebody who can raise $2 million. But more than that, what it means to me is that I can pay my salary for 3 years, maybe even 4 years, because I'm super frugal. My wife and I can actually afford to have another child. That's something that I just really want to do. And I don't have to think about, not being able to pay staff, right? I could say for 2 years, we have 2 years of staff salaries in the bank account, which just makes me sleep way easier at night. And it just creates just a new way of navigating the world when all those things are true. So when things get really, really hard in trying to achieve this goal, I remember who I want to become and what that new identity is going to be able to do and create for people that I love and that I am responsible for. It's my family and my staff, and for me. Secondly, you got to do the math. If you want to generate, for example, $100,000 in sales, you could do it in a few ways. You could do one deal at $100,000. You can do 2 deals at $50,000, or you could do 5 deals at $20,000. Try all these strategies and see which one gets the most traction, right? And there's 2 ways that I like to think about, turning those strategies into sprints, because that's obviously super important. You can do 3-week sprints, right? Let's say you do 3 weeks just focused on $100,000 deals. You do another 3 weeks just focused on $50,000 deals. And then you do another 3 weeks focused on $20,000 deals. Uh, Alternatively, another way of doing it is just taking 1 week and saying $100,000 deals, that's what I'm seeking out. Then you take a second week, 50,000 deals, that's what I'm focused on. And a third week, $20,000 deals, that's what I'm focused on. And the key, right, that I realized last year was I took 6 months to work on one project and it epically failed. And when I think about it now, I felt so irresponsible. I rather fail in a week, in 3 weeks, and pivot and change than take 6 months and then the end of the year has already arrived and it's just not much I can do. So whether you take it 3 weeks at a time or 1 week at a time, you'll find out very quickly what's going to work for you. So I want to end this video by inviting you to join the 12-week year challenge. If you click the link in the first comment or the description of this video, when you click, you'll join our community and we can work together on your 12-week year challenge. Every week, I'll be sharing updates on my progress, and every month, we can get together in a session where you and other 12-week year challengers can share your progress. My name is Derek Duplessis. I run a nonprofit called Duplessis Foundation. We provide sales coaching to women, immigrant, and minority business owners. And over the past 5 years, we helped them generate $12 million in sales so far. And it's my privilege to be of service to you. I'll see you next time.